Every agency I have ever met has at least one nightmare client story. The one who haggled every invoice, who moved the goalposts every week, and who demanded more than they ever paid for. And the client who always makes you regret while you pick up his phone. And they always tell the story same way. We just got unlucky. They seemed fine in sales calls, or some clients are just like that. That's what I want you to consider. What if it wasn't bad luck? What if that client was the most accurate piece of feedback your business has ever received? Because here's something I have noticed working with agencies and service businesses for almost 3 years now. Bad clients don't come from nowhere. They come from positioning that was vague enough to let them in, pricing that was flexible enough to attract them, or a sales process that was desperate enough to not qualify them properly. So you did not get unlucky. You selected them yourself, maybe not consciously, but your brand positioning did it. And until you understand how, it will keep going on repeat. So there is a concept I want to introduce you today. I call it the Repulsion Principle. And I know that sounds counterintuitive for a video about getting better clients, because we are not going to talk about attraction. We are going to talk about elimination. The businesses I have watched build the most profitable, highest trust client rosters, they did not do it by getting better at closing. They did it by getting ruthlessly specific and who they were not ever supposed to serve. And in doing so, they made themselves completely invisible to the wrong side of people and completely magnetic to the right ones. So stay with me, because before I explain how that works, I need to show you what's actually creating the problem. Most service businesses operate from a quiet form of desperation. Not desperation they admit to, but it shows up in how they position themselves. Their website says they work with businesses of all sizes. The offer says everything from social media to full-scale campaigns. And their pricing may be saying something like, we are flexible depending on your budget. Every one of those statements is designed to avoid rejection. And when you fear rejection, you attract the unserious clients. And I understand the instinct. When pipeline is thin, narrowing your positioning feels like closing a door you cannot afford to close. But here's what's actually happening. When you position yourselves for everyone, you become invisible to the people who are looking for exactly what you do. So you become a janitor. So you become perfectly visible to the people who are shopping on price, who want everything customized, who will need convincing on every single invoice. So vague positioning is a magnet for wrong side of people. There are 4 ways service businesses create bad clients through their own positioning. 4 places where the signal you put out is selecting the wrong room. I want to talk through each one, not as a checklist, as a mirror. So you can reflect on yourself and your business and your offer, positioning and structure of entire operations. The first one is the positioning for categories instead of outcomes. We do SEO. We run paid ads, we build websites. These are categories, and categories attract people who are comparing you to everyone else in the same category, which means the first question they ask is, how much do you charge? Not how you can solve my problem or how have you ever done this before. How much do you charge? Because that's what you invited. You presented yourself as a commodity and they responded like you were always a commodity. The shift is simple to say and genuinely hard to do. Stop describing what you do. Start describing what changes for a specific person because you did it, not we run Google ads. Your offer must say very specific, very niche, and talking to the ICP. Like, we help freight forwarding companies get qualified inbound inquiries from Google without relying on cold outreach. One of those statements attracts a freight forward company who already wants that outcome. The other attracts whoever happens to need ads and found you on the page 2 of Google. The second thing is the flexible pricing. I want you to be careful here because I'm not saying charge more for the sake of charging more. I'm saying pricing signals commitment. When a client asks you what you charge, and your answer starts with it depends on whatever your budget is, or we can work around your budget. We can, or maybe something like we can work with most budgets. You have just told them that your price is negotiable. And the clients who respond best to that signal are the ones who will always negotiate hard, very hard, every single time. The clients who are the easiest to work with, who respect your time and who pay on time, who trust your recommendations almost universally, did not ask for a cut discount. Never. Not because they are wealthier, because the price you presented told them that you knew what you were worth. And that signal filtered the clients who responds to confidence. The third flag is the social proof for the wrong audience. This one is subtle and almost nobody talks about it. When you put testimonials on your website or your LinkedIn or your socials, when you share case studies on LinkedIn, you are telling the market you have worked with this industry and that industry and cheap clients and garbage. And if your testimonial is from a small businesses or a startup, maybe something like we had no budget but they made it work story, you will attract small businesses, startups and people with no budget who want you to make it work no matter what. So your proof is your positioning. Hope you got me. Curate it deliberately. Lead with clients who represent who you want more of. I hope that makes sense. So let's say if you want interior designers, the first case study on your website should be an interior designer. If you want freight forward companies, the first numbers someone sees should come from a freight forward company, because people self-select based on whatever they see themselves in your existing work. Show them that the version of themselves you want to attract for future. Okay. And the fourth one might be the most hardest for most of you to hear. It is saying yes to everyone. Saying yes when you should say no. Every time you take a client, you knew it wasn't quite right. The budget was too low, the brief was unclear, and something in the call just felt off, and you took them anyway. You onboard them and you start delivering the results. Now you sent a signal to your own business. You told yourself, this is standard I operate at, this is kind of work I do, and these are the people I accept. And your next set of leads will match that standard, because your referrals come from your existing clients and your case studies come from your existing clients. Your energy, your capacity and your portfolio are shaped by who you are currently serving. So be cautious who you work with and be cautious who you onboard. Always who you say yes to today determines who finds you tomorrow. I just want to tell you about a conversation I had with an agency owner almost 16 to 18 months ago. She had a small team, 4 people doing decent work, but every month felt like starting from scratch. High churn, clients leaving after 3 months, like constant price conversations, a team that was exhausted from being pulled in 12 directions by clients who each wanted something different. When I looked at her positioning, I understood immediately. Her website said she worked with ambitious businesses ready to grow, which is everyone, and therefore no one. Her pricing page said something like packages from £500 a month. Her case studies were a mix: a restaurant, a life coach, a local plumber, a SaaS startup. 4 completely different industries, 4 completely different problems, and 4 completely different clients, telling the market she'd work with anyone, like she's a janitor, and juggling with all these tools and toys. We spent 6 weeks doing something that terrified her. We narrowed everything, rewrote the positioning to speak only to professional service businesses, consultants, agencies, and specialists who were doing good work but were invisible online. And then removed the $500 line entirely. Put us starting from £2,500 a month. in its place. Then we pulled the mixed case studies, led with two deep ones, both professional service businesses, both with specific numbers, and both with the client's name and face on them. What happened? First month just felt quiet. She called me, fewer inquiries. She called me after 2 weeks and said, I think we made a mistake. I told her to wait. By month 2, the inquiries that did come were different. No one asked about the price first. No one is asking for a custom package, and no one is pushing back on the contract length. They always talk about the results, and now they ask about the process, not the prices. They asked when they could start. So you see, the pricing, the positioning, and structure of your own business attracts the quality of your clients. Same agency, same team, same services, but different signal, different room. Here's what the Repulsion Principle actually is. It's not about being exclusive for the sake of it. It's not even about turning people away to seem premium. It's about understanding that every piece of your positioning, your website, your pricing, your case studies, your content, even the clients you currently have is a signal. And that signal is actively selecting who walks through your door, who outreaches you, and who applies to work with you. The operator who fixes this doesn't become more aggressive in their marketing. They become more specific. They stop writing for everyone. They start writing for one person, the exact person they want more of. They stop saying yes to wrong fit clients. Like, you can simply tell the client that we are not right fit and you should move maybe somewhere else, because the short-term revenue is not worth the long-term cost of who that client makes you to look like. They stop being afraid of the narrowing because they understand the specificity is not the closed door. It's a filter, and a filter does not keep opportunity out. It keeps the wrong opportunity out. So the next time you're on a sales call and something feels off, the budget is lower than it should be, the brief is unclear, or they have already been through 2 other agencies, remember this: saying no to that client is not losing a deal. It's sending a signal to every future client about standards you keep, about your SOPs and your architecture. Because bad clients are not bad luck, they are market, responding accurately to the signal you put out. So change the signal, change the room. So if you want help from us figuring out where your positioning is letting the wrong people in, drop the word signal in the comments. I'll take a look personally, no pitch, just a real answer and audit of your business. See you next one.